Welcome, everybody. This is our very first episode from Project Possible, where we are doing real talk with Jason and Kelly.
Yeah, we're really delighted to be launching this, this YouTube channel. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We're really excited to be bringing you some real talk and some fresh new content from myself and Kelly.
Absolutely. So we're live on my YouTube channel at the moment, but we're going to stream this both on Jason and mine. And we're hopefully going to do this probably maybe once a week, maybe.
Try and attempt to do it once a week. We're going to try and not scuffle over the top of each other too much with our convo and our input. We're going to do our very best to try and let each other talk and hopefully make this some really cool content for you to take something away and hopefully maybe apply to your life and just extract the bits that mean something to you.
So we wanted to do a real talk today to really let you know about the last 10 weeks that we've done in preparation to our photo shoot that's happening on the 1st of April. So we've got literally 2 weeks.
Yeah, we got 2 weeks yesterday till we go to the photo shoot. We made the decision to have something to look forward to, have a goal to sort of challenge and channel our energy into going into the new year. And we decided from the 1st of January, we were going to start a sort of body transformation as such and try and drop some body fat, try and create a nice shape, bringing into a photo shoot.
Yeah, I mean, and we've done photo shoots in the past. We've done them together. We've done them separately. And our photo shoots have always been to do with our business, to help to promote what we do with regards to social media and stuff like that. So this photo shoot that we're going to do is very much like that. It's very much focused towards our business and going to hopefully use with regards to promo and things. But we normally only do an 8-week shred.
Yeah. So the reason behind doing an 8-week shred was because prior to, turning the age of 35 and turning the age of 40, things are a little bit more difficult in terms of getting to the shape you want to be in. As we get older, obviously our metabolism slow down in some cases, and it's a little bit more difficult to get that body fat away from those areas that you really want it to be getting away from. So we decided to do more of a 10-week ongoing prep so that we could bring our very best. And to be honest with you, it's been quite a journey, and it's learned us both a hell of a lot.
It's really been an experience doing 12 weeks and kind of really easing into it to start with and almost feeling like you're not on a prep and just kind of going through your basics, going back to basics, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And the protocol in which we were going to take was we were still going to try and keep our training really intense as well, because that's a real cornerstone to, our lifestyle, is that our training is really intense still and still challenging. And we made the decision to up certain areas of our workouts as well. And also, moderate and look at our food intake to formulate a really good plan to, all being well, hopefully bring our very best. I mean, where we're currently sitting at the moment in terms of our lean muscle mass and our body fat, we're actually in the best possible place we could be, which kind of, all this sort of misconception that you get older and you still can't achieve your best is we're really trying to, myth bust that. And as two sort of natural athletes, we're real advocates for, pushing yourself as much as you can within the safety of what you can do naturally as well.
Yeah. And for me personally, it's been a bit of a journey, kind of switching things up slightly, because I've really had to learn about eating more and the fact that I need to fuel my body a little bit more. Whereas before I kind of thought maybe I don't actually need these amount of calories. It was all about reducing calories, and I needed to reduce those calories down. And that's the way I was going to shred. But actually I've eaten more on this shred.
Yeah.
Than I normally do, especially with regards to my protein. And I know we advocate this on our Project Possible about getting in that protein straight after the workout, but it's a total game changer, massive game changer, isn't it? To get that protein in within that hour after you've trained.
Yeah. So your sort of approach this time has been this sort of two methodologies to determine like how you want to go about trying to trim up. And that is that you're going to keep your food high and offset that food with a higher work rate, which Kelly's done. Or obviously, you can drop your calories right down in terms of using that as a way of actually stripping the body fat and encouraging your body you go to the resources, which is the fat, to obviously get you into shape. But the reason we've both kept our food high was because of the level of activity that we both do. We're both training super hard. We're both instructing. We're both really active. I would say at least 6 days out of the 7, sometimes 7 days, we're on the go. So the decision to keep the food higher and do a longer prep was kind of the methodology behind why we've chose to do the longer prep. It gave us a bit more flexibility in terms of keeping those calories higher, staying fuller in the muscles, pushing more protein, more fats into the diet in order to keep us fuller coming into this shoot, because detrimentally to both of our overall looks in previous photo shoots has definitely been that we've cut too much food out and also kept our work rate too high, and you just end up flattening out. So, you know, Kelly's very much been a little bit of an experimental sort of like study this time, and it's absolutely worked. She's holding much more lean muscle mass. She's lighter than she's ever been for a photo shoot and holding a bigger percentage of muscle mass. And that's been testament to the fact that she's been able to train more intense because her calories have been higher for long lengths of time. And she's also been able to retain more muscle mass as a result of having those calories to facilitate keeping the muscle.
Yeah, and it's been a journey, like we've said, and I kind of feel like now we're 2 weeks out and we're really close to what we want to achieve. And we've got to remember that, you know, we are the age that we are. I'm going to be 44 in June. You know, Jason's 35, and it's not as easy as it was when we were 20 years old, you know. And I remember doing a photo shoot, literally coming back off holiday after an all-inclusive,
and just you still got abs
pinging straight back in. And it's like, how did that happen? Now it's got to be a lot more of a process, and thinking about, you know, making sure that you're getting your health really in check. But I also feel like the accountability and the you know, tracking, like I've tracked a lot of my calories, I've tracked a lot of my nutrition, I've tracked my exercise, and that for me has been a game changer as well, because I've not normally tracked anything. I keep a basic diary with regards to when I'm training and when I'm not, but it's been brilliant to have that as a
log. You've really logged everything out. It's kept you accountable. It's kept you dialed in and accountable. And this is the thing, when anyone embarks on a challenge, it's better to have the steps laid out for you for what you're going to do in terms of achieving that goal. And I always say this, it's a case of when you decide that you want to do a goal, you've got to break that down into mini sections of how you're going to get there. And Kelly very much has done that. She's had her goals of what she wanted to hit every week, and she's made that happen by documenting it every day. I mean, it's going to be a good reference point to look back on.
Yeah, I mean, today when I was training push, it was a really eye opener, because I remember when we were back training at Kratos, and you told me to drop my weights on my shoulder press because I wasn't actually hitting full reps. So I remember dropping them back down to about 5 kg. And that's kind of like how I started. I was starting around 5 kg when I was doing my seated shoulder press. And I remember trying to up that to around 6. And you said, drop it back down, hit those full reps, get right down to the shoulders. And today I was doing it on 10 kg, and it was like, wow, I've made a huge transformation in regards to like weights. And I think if I hadn't have tracked that and logged that, I wouldn't know. And that's the important side of like tracking and being aware of kind of like what your starting point is, and then being aware of what your end point is, and not trying to jump that too soon. You know, I wasn't thinking about, you know, oh, I'm going to need to up this within the next week. This has been 10 weeks I've taken.
Yeah, and you've also, as well, because you've been in shape prior and you've had photo shoots prior, you've got that as a little bit of a goal to be. And I say this, it's like, the only competition you need really is yourself. If you've achieved a point in your life where you can look back, and this goes for anybody, and you've achieved something and you're using that as a metric of success, try and beat that. If every year as you're getting older, things are becoming more difficult in order to get you into shape, use your previous years when you was in peak shape, your athletic performance was at its very best, and compete against that. Because if that 25-year-old version of you is there and you have the evidence to say that's what I did, why can't you do that now? That is your direct competition. For me, it's every year trying to beat the previous year as things get more difficult. And that is in turn led to me having to do a longer prep. Okay, so a longer prep, 10 weeks, 12 weeks. That's cool. Again, like Kelly and like lots of other people that are going to be listening to this, you can just absolutely back in the day just spring into shape. And by no means are we saying that we're over the hill and it's you know, it's all doom and gloom. It absolutely isn't. It's just there comes a point when it's like things are a little bit more challenging for people to get into shape. So having that previous metric of success, whatever it happens to be, an achievement in your life, you are able to look on that and be like, well, that was me. So why can't I do that? Failing the fact that you've got a debilitating issue that may potentially be, you know, really restrictingly stopping you doing that, which I hope you haven't got. There's no reason why biologically you can't do that again. You just have to be aware of where you're at in life and put certain different protocols, different supplementation. You need to increase your sleep. You need to increase your hydration. You need to look at everything on a whole and go, right, my body composition is this. My body composition was that. It doesn't matter if what you was doing back then, you wasn't doing any protocol to look like that or perform like that. You have to look at what you are now. And the difference is at this point, when you're not 20 years of age and you're getting to 30, 40, 50 years of age, taking just 1% from one place and 1% from another has huge differences in the body. If you can pull on 1% from all of these things like hydration, which would be more, sleeping, nutrition, just upskilling your knowledge in terms of watching videos, reading, doing training courses, getting more exposure to speaking to people who, you know, are qualified and know what they're doing within the area that you're trying to achieve, you're going to gain all these little single percentages that accumulate up and lead to huge jumps, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, what we want to talk about today really is like the highs and lows of the last 10 weeks and give you a bit of an insight into our life of how it's been, because it's not for everyone. We know that, you know, this kind of lifestyle is not what everyone normally does. And if you're out there thinking about maybe doing a photo shoot or maybe doing a competition, whether or not that's some sort of athletic competition or it's a bodybuilding competition, you know, you've got to kind of know that it's a journey and there's going to be days where you're going to feel not so good. So what would you say would be your low of these last 10 weeks? Where were you at?
Okay, so just to broaden that ever so slightly and just to talk about what Kelly just said in a little bit more depth, really, I just want to say that when it is that you're embarking on any kind of challenge, there's going to be two ways in which you can look at it. You can either look at it, procrastinate, get annoyed by the fact that you've got to do this and really let that affect your mood and make the whole procedure really arduous and struggle with it. Or you can embrace it and you can just go, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to achieve. So therefore, I need to take all the emotions that come with this on board because I want to achieve this physical feat, whatever it is that you want to do. So you kind of got to make it not a nemesis. You've got to learn to flow with it and go with it and enjoy the process. So the lows for me, I'm going to be completely honest with you, have been is I'm a big sweet head. I really enjoy the sweets. The exercise, not a problem. I can do the exercise. I'm not a huge fan of doing prolonged lengths of time doing cardio. I can do weight training, dynamic movements all day, no problem. Athletic pursuits, I love all that sort of stuff. For me, the two things that I've found extremely difficult, okay, being completely honest, is the fact that I've had to really fall in love with doing cardio. Now, cardio for me is more included in my workouts. I like to keep my workouts intense. I like to keep my heart rate up. So therefore, I don't usually set a set amount of time aside to actually undertake cardiovascular exercise. Now, you know, I'm a qualified coach and I know all the benefits of doing cardiovascular exercise, but for me in the off season, that isn't something I do. So doing huge amounts of cardio for me has been incremental. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how I built that up. So I kind of got used to it and sort of semi-enjoy it now, being completely honest. The second one for me has been not going for the sugars, not going for the sweets, not going for the desserts. That's been the big blocker, because that can fundamentally for me be the difference of me being clean all day and then I can overindulge on an evening, which puts me from a calorie deficit to a calorie surplus, which detracts away from all the hard work I've done that day. So they're the two things I've found most difficult.
Yeah.
In terms of motivation and mindset, I'd like to say that's pretty unwavering. I'm pretty determined when it comes to achieving something, you know, and being very proud of being, you know, standing at the top of the podium many times in lots of sports. My resolve to get to the end of a challenge is absolutely unwavering. I'm determined when it comes, but that little pack of sweets or that dessert on the menu when you've got to keep clean and you've had your clean meal and it's like, right, I've had my fish, I've had my greens, I've had my potatoes and I've kept it clean. You know, I've had my pint of lemon water with loads of ice in it, and that's me. I'm cool. I've hit my macros. Seeing that dessert menu when you flip over and annoy yourself with it, that isn't so much Kelly's bugbear.
No.
But I'm going to ask you, so what's been your most difficult bit?
So what I was going to say, just tapping on to what Jason was saying with there, was it wasn't the case of like us not being motivated, but just to understand that you aren't going to have every day that's going to be a great day. You're not going to spring out of bed every single day.
No,
and
you're
go
not.
like,
No.
yeah, let's go. Because that's not going to happen. And also not every gym session you're going to have is not going to be a great session.
No.
We've had sessions in the past where we've walked out of that gym and we've just been like, we got it done.
We got it done.
And that's all we say.
Tick the box.
It's
we
like,
tick the box.
We've got it done. There's no like, oh my God, that was the best workout in the world, or I smashed that, or I felt really good. It was, I just got it done. You know, I didn't feel like doing it. I didn't have much energy doing it. I didn't really push my weights doing it. I didn't hit any PBs doing it. It was just the way it was.
And I think that's a really fair point for us, just to elaborate on that a little bit and just say that despite what you see in terms of the broad range of people that you may be following on social media, you may be seeing every single day in the gym, they're not having the most fantastic session every single time.
No.
They might be just ticking the box. So if it is that you're, you know, struggling for motivation and you're looking around and you're seeing everyone and you're like, oh my God, they look so fantastic, they're still having their bad days as well. They are. Everyone has the most elite level athlete will still have those sessions that won't be absolutely, you know, on fire. And this has been something for us, hasn't it? As the shred goes on, you start to feel a little bit flatter, your calories are low, and you kind of just have to bounce off each other and just get a really good playlist in your headphones and just really dig in, because not every session is going to be, you know, the best session, is it?
No, for sure. And there's been times where I've been delivering courses all weekend and still had to train on a Sunday night.
You have.
And had to finish on Zoom at 4:00 and then head to the gym, and not wanted to head to the gym. And it's pouring a rain and, you know, everything's against me, but I've still done it.
Yeah.
And I've gone in and I've not really had the best session, but I've never regretted having that session. I've never walked out of there and thought, God, I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
You know, I've always...
It's getting you closer to where you want to be, as opposed to standing still or being further away.
Yeah.
And that's sort of been the mindset we've had, isn't it?
Absolutely.
A missed session may not be detrimental in itself, but a missed session every other week, every week or every month for a year means that you're missing a lot of percentage of training sessions that you could be maximizing your results.
Yeah.
And this is what I say to, you know, lots of my clients. It's like, just go and get the session done. Obviously, if you're run down or you're ill or you're really, really fatigued to the point where your body's not going to be in a state where it's going to want to be promoting any muscle growth, then of course, rest up and recuperate. But all failing all of that, there's no reason why you shouldn't be in there pushing yourself closer to your goal. And this has been, we've had to really G ourselves up, haven't we? And, you know, being completely honest, you know, we're not always absolutely bouncing into the gym. Don't get me wrong, probably 6 or 7 times out of 10, we're on fire. But there's them sessions where it's hoods up, headphones on and just digging in. Yeah.
Snoop Dogg needs to come into my earphones or something to give me a little bit of motivation. I think for me, my low points have always been when I'm tired, when sleep hasn't been great. I mean, obviously, those of you that follow us, you know, Bentley's not been the the wellest boy this year, our bulldog, and there's been times where it's been incredibly stressful. We had a night maybe a couple of weeks ago where I think I got to bed at 4:30 in the morning, and then I knew I had to be up at 6:30. And those of you that are, you know, you've got pets or you've got children or you've got parents that you're looking after, you are, you know, literally the sole responsibility for those people. You know that it's tough, it's hard, and you have to put yourself second. And that's probably for me been the hardest thing, where I've had to take my needs and wants and goals and ambitions and had to put that just at a back burner because obviously I've had to look after him for one reason or another. And that's been challenging. It's been really tough because obviously it's been emotional as well. And when your emotions are high, your cortisol levels go really high. When your sleep is low, your cortisol level goes really high. And for a woman in her 40s, if her cortisol levels are really high, she's going to be storing fat, not burning fat. And that's going to be a challenge. So I've definitely noticed that as well. So when I've kind of been tracking everything, I've noticed that when those days have happened, my weight's probably changed slightly. My sleep definitely hasn't been as good, all of those kind of things.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like that's what you've been finding difficult. It's really crazy that the cravings, you've had no cravings. I know you do like you do like a cheese board.
I have had cravings.
You do like a cheese board. Now, have you been craving cheese?
I've been craving the worst things in the world. I've been craving
food you don't even usually eat.
I've been craving pizza. I've been dreaming about pizza.
Yeah, so you know, we do
the weirdest things. I mean, Jason and I are very different with regards to our foods. Although we love food that are very similar, we you know, obviously there's certain foods that we absolutely adore. There's other foods that we definitely are a go-to, and Jason very much is a sweet person. He loves his puddings, he loves his sweets. I'm not so much of a big fan of that. Me, savory, you know, bread, butter, cheese, anything like that, is crisps. Definitely is my biggest downfall. And I've been craving cheese, pizzas, bread. I mean, today I totally punished myself because I went to Tesco's. Obviously other supermarkets are available, and I went and did the shop. And
did you punish yourself and walk down the bread
aisle?
No, you didn't.
I did.
No. Oh.
I walked down the bread aisle just to smell.
That's willpower, that is.
Just to smell.
That's willpower.
I just wanted to smell.
Can you remember when last time we did a photo shoot and I was purposely buying stuff and putting in the house, like almost like self-torture, just so I opened the cupboards and seen it to keep myself on track? It was really strange. I was buying things that I knew that I wasn't able to consume on the run up to a photo shoot, and annoying myself with seeing it every day when I looked in the cupboard. But it was like
I don't know why you do
it was
that.
like trying to test my willpower. I don't like you like I need to.
I don't know why you do that. But yeah, I mean, I really did punish myself today, walking down that bread aisle and just trying to inhale as much as I could as I
it's going to be like eating it.
I was like, oh. But yeah, I mean, craving wise, it's been a strange one. I mean, we've kind of really thought about foods that we probably wouldn't eat.
Yeah, like following a pancake shack that's down in Swansea on Instagram and just annoying myself with looking at the pictures. But I think to be completely honest, any person or any, you know, individual that's in any kind of athletic pursuit or trying to achieve a goal will have to sacrifice things in terms of getting to where they want to get. And I think that the takeaway here probably is for us to just say and be honest with the fact that we have had cravings and we do want to eat the nice foods, but the goal is the 1st of April. We want to be in the best physical shape that we possibly can. And we've kind of come up with this idea of coming on here and talking to you about it, just to give you a run up of where we're at the moment, and hopefully you can take something away from it yourself and see that, you know, two individuals that are in one pursuit aren't much different to you guys, and that we still have the highs and lows as well, and to just be really transparent with it. We want to take these videos going forward and to just keep building on them. You know, talk more about things that people will be encountering in their day-to-day life. We can talk more about fitness. We can talk more about events. We can talk more about getting into shape. We can go on deep dives into whatever it is that it happens to be that, you know, A, people want to listen to, and B, we find interest in talking about. And this is a part of our life at the moment that we wanted to come on and share. We're really excited for it. And, you know, it's really nice for me to be with Kelly and see that she's putting in such a big effort. It's motivating for me because we've both done this solo before as well. So it's really nice to have someone to bounce off.
I think as well, you know, motivating each other. Jason motivates me massively. But I was at a stage, you know, earlier this year and last year where I was getting that kind of midsection weight gain that I was noticing. My waist was getting thicker rather than smaller. And I just kind of were kind of making excuses as to why that was happening. But I knew why it was happening. I wasn't being so careful with my diet. I was allowing myself to pretty much eat what I wanted to eat. And I wasn't training anywhere near as much as I really should. And I think there's a lot of instructors out there, and I've been completely guilty of this in the past as well. We've spoken about this a lot with Project Possible that we run for instructors, about instructors that just use their classes as their workout, and they will turn around and say, oh God, but I teach 15 classes a week, or I teach 20 classes a week. And I teach 20 classes a week. And I could easily turn around and say, surely that's enough. I don't need to train. I don't need to work out. But it was blatantly obvious that I did, because my body shape wasn't changing for the better. It was changing
because you was instructing them and not participating in
for
them.
Sure. And I feel like maybe, you know, as time was going on, my metabolism was changing, you know, my hormone levels are changing. Even though I have my bloods done and I know where I'm at with regards to my testosterone levels, my bloods, you know, was showing that things were changing with regards to me, and things may possibly be slowing down. And I couldn't rely on my classes. I had to get that training in. And that's definitely something that I've learned over these last 4 years. I need to get that training in for me.
Yeah, it turns out at that point, that's when you did your bloods, and it turns out that all your levels were actually really good. So you knew that was then directly, you'd eliminated the possibilities that something could be going wrong in the body, and you knew that it was generally you needed to be getting a stimulus from something in order to make the change directly in your training, didn't you? And you did that, didn't you? You did that, devised a plan and went after it, and you've created some great results as a result of it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say that, you know, like we've said, that every day has been an easy day. There's been days where definitely I've kind of wanted to, you know, maybe not go to the gym or not do what I'm doing. But, you know, you've got to think of that end result. You've got to think of that end goal all the time. And that's what's in your mind. And I suppose setting yourself something like this, like a goal, whether or not, I mean, you know, you might not want to be doing a photo shoot, but setting yourself something that you want to achieve is definitely key, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. And the thing is, as the years roll by, it's really important that we give ourselves these challenges. And I always say to myself, whenever I'm going to do something and I put it off and everyone can procrastinate. I just say, if not now, then when?
Yeah.
If not now, then when? There's never going to be a good time when the dog's not poorly, when you're not got busy with birthdays, when there isn't somebody around you that's of ill health, when you're not moving house. There's always going to be something that's trying to distract you from. There's never going to be an ideal time to grasp at whatever it is that you want. You know, gone are the days where we're younger and all we have to worry about is going to school or going to college and our mum and dads give us pocket money. That's gone. The real world is there's going to be struggles, and there's no giving excuses. There's always ways around it. It's just a case of how much do you want it. And I tell myself this when I have to drag myself out of bed and get on the cross trainer, which ultimately I don't really want to be doing at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't particularly bounce out of bed in the morning. Kelly's great, but I've been making myself do it because I'm dedicated to seeing the best possible result. I'm the kind of person that if I don't get the result I want when I get there, I will absolutely look back and blame it on the time I didn't get out of bed and do that cardio. That's just me. I will destroy myself as a result of it. And, you know, I will be honest and admit that if I slip up and I have a binge, I will blame the end result on that, even though it might not possibly have been that. It might have just been that the inevitable was going to happen anyway, that I wasn't going to reach the goal. Then I want to know that was all on me. Okay, all on me not being able to step up to the plate, not the fact that I slipped off because I didn't do my cardio or I ate a bag of sweets.
I think as well, me and you, we need something we're aiming for. Every year we need something we're aiming for.
Yeah.
We're very much like that kind of person. And over Christmas, I mean, we didn't have the best Christmas again this year. It's like, oh my God, another year where it's been a bit crappy because you were so poorly.
Yeah.
This year you got flu.
I seem to always get ill at Christmas and then never all year. I don't get ill all year and then it all comes at
Jason got
Christmas.
so poorly at Christmas, and we were both really poorly last year. We had COVID. I had COVID last year without you getting it. And then over Christmas, you got flu really, really bad and you were super, super poorly. New Year was completely a write-off. We didn't really celebrate it at all. And I think coming out of that, we just felt so weak and maybe poorly and just rubbish that
we needed something.
Yeah, we needed something to make us feel
stoke
strong.
the fire again.
And
Fire things back up.
Let's do something. Let's focus on something. And that could be, sometimes it's a holiday for us, or sometimes it's an event for us.
Yeah.
But this time it was a photo shoot.
Yeah, absolutely.
We wanted to do, and that's kind of where we're at now. Going forward, for these next 2 weeks, we have got quite a lot on. We've got a frigging busy week this week.
Yeah.
We're going to Blackpool on Thursday. We've got IFS, which is the International Fitness Showcase. I'm teaching at it like I do every single year. Jason's coming, and in a normal environment, we would be absolutely celebrating and enjoying the weekend away and in a hotel and eating what we like and drinking what we like and enjoying the gala dinner. However, we are a week away from our photo shoot.
So we've got to be on prep. So we've had to think ahead, and we've phoned ahead to a company that's going to accommodate us eating. So we've had to think ahead. And this is the thing as well. It's like going forward, when you know that you're not going to be around the foods that you know you can eat when you're at home, it's moving forward and knowing that you've put provisions in place to make sure that you're not going to be able to slip off what you've been doing. So we phoned ahead to a company in Blackpool. They're going to accommodate us. We've already signed up to a gym to use for 3 days so we can keep things going. And yeah, it's going to be a tough weekend. And obviously
we've got our cooler bags that we're going to be taking with food in it as well. So we're going to be taking some prep with us. And we know the hotel we're staying in. We know it's great. We know we can accommodate for breakfast and things like that. And we're just going to have to be a little bit more mindful of what we're doing. It's kind of just being prepared. And having those days away, and then when we come back, it's going to be all guns blazing, ready for the photo shoot on Saturday.
We are, so we've rung ahead. We know where we're going to go and get our food, and this sort of approach to prep and having food ready and planning going forward isn't something that's new to me. I've been a high level athlete for many years now, and competed for long enough to be able to have that instilled in me that just happens on autopilot. It's not something that's a concern. It's just something that you've got to, it's just another thing to think about. But if you're dedicated and you're committed and you want it to happen, you just got to make sure that you've put the provisions in place to make it happen. And I won't moan too much about it. It's our decision to go to Blackpool, although it's going to be super busy, but we're gonna make it happen, and it absolutely won't detract away from.
No, and we probably will do our next live and tell you how it went, and tell how how we got on, and whether or not everything was okay, and how. Yeah,
that'll be cool. Yeah, we can talk about the weekend.
How we progressed over the weekend, that kind of thing. So yeah, these next 2 weeks, we're gonna need to dig deep for sure, because we want to see more results. We want to be in
the next 2 weeks. Consider the biggest change in the next 2 weeks. We've had an idea goal of what we want to hit in terms of body weight. It's just body weight as a metric of success is a tricky one. Okay, it might not be for everyone that you want to go down the route of weighing yourselves as a result of seeing where you've gone forward in terms of your progression. But because myself and Kelly have got sort of our ideals at certain body weights, we know what we need to be our striking range to be somewhere within that shape. The fact of the matter is, this year, being completely honest, is Kelly is actually lighter and carrying more muscle mass than she ever has, except when she was little. I'm actually coming into this photo shoot probably heavier than my previous photo shoot. But for those people that don't know, leading into my last photo shoot, I was actually coming off the back of a spinal injury. I herniated a disc, which pretty much rendered me, unable to really lift progressively heavy enough to stimulate enough tissue before the photo shoot. So I went into that photo shoot 100% at what I was at a base level. What musculature I had on my last photo shoot was me at completely base level, unable to really push myself or exert much force through my spine. So although I was proud of those results because that was me at 100% raw, this shoot has been very different. And it's clearly apparent that coming into this shoot a couple of kilos heavier, that the goal to stimulate hypertrophy and the protocols I put in place and the areas of weakness within the physique I wanted to work on have definitely been worked on. And there is a considerable step up in terms of body weight via muscle mass, but a deduction of body fat. And the more muscle mass you carry, the more body fat you're going to burn at resting, which is something that I had accounted for, but not also as well going into this, that the more muscle mass you have, the more you're going to burn at resting. So you can effectively get away with offsetting some of that work rate with just muscle tissue that you've got. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be interesting to see what we can deliver with with almost like completely two different sort of approaches to this in a sense.
Kerry's just said, what food would you put in your call bag? I mean, we're going to get our food prepped every single day. We'll go and collect that food. So on the Friday, we'll collect our food for our lunches and our kind of not that we're just having 2 meals, but our meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, so forth. Our meals that we're going to be having for breakfast will be at the hotel, because that's absolutely fine. We can do eggs and stuff like that. But essentially, we're going to be using that call bag to put our meals in for the day, aren't we?
Yeah.
We will be taking some stuff with us.
So we will batch cook some stuff. We will batch cook some stuff.
We're going to take apples for me and peanut butter to get in some good fats as well in there. And just some little things that we can take. We will
probably more than likely
almond milk for Jason.
Yeah, we will fill the cooler bag with our in between meals, our snacks as such.
Extra coffee.
if Kerry, we wasn't having the meal prep that we're going to be purchasing when we're there, we would be batch cooking stuff. So we would be batch cooking our clean carbs, our clean fish, our clean meats. Things that we can batch cook and actually get chilled and they last a long time. So my sister, very fortunately, is a chef. So she's really clued me up on everything over the years on how to, batch cook stuff and how to chill things and what temperature to keep things at. So touch wood, I've not had any kind of food poisoning as a result of any cooking, despite my sister saying, I'm amazed you haven't had food poisoning yet. Yeah, just simply batch cooking. And what I would always say is, Kerry, is don't go too extravagant with the food when you're batch cooking. Okay, so if you're going to be using your cooler bag to batch cook, which I have done many times before, is cook it plain and then add whatever it is that you want when you get there. Because what happens is you need that extra sauce when you get that, or that extra whatever it happens to be spice that you put on there to add some flavor and really boost the flavor in that food. Because if you carry it in a cooler bag for a day, it can start to dry out if you've already put the sauce on. So heat the food up, then add that on afterwards would be my advice for keeping it.
We're really lucky in the sense that we're able to collect the food in the morning, and that will do us for the whole day. We'll be able to put that in our cooler bag. It will stay cool. We'll be able to eat that on the go as we're working out, after we're training, pre-workout, post-workout, so and so forth. And then the next day we go and collect the next lot and put it in the cooler bag from there. I was also going to talk about the fact that this prep, slightly different than the last couple that we've done. in the sense that we're training in a totally different environment, aren't we?
Yeah.
We've moved away from a little bit more of a bodybuilding gym, and we are training more in a kind of health club environment, country club environment, which has a pool, has a steam room, and has a sauna.
Oh, it's been a game
and we've
changer.
absolutely nailed the sauna and the steam room.
Yeah, and I think going forward in future videos, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the benefits we've had from using the sauna, and some of the well-studied benefits that come from using the sauna, and obviously, you know, using the steam room, etc., etc. But the health club we're part of now is absolutely fantastic. You walk in there and you're greeted by heat instead of walking into an old industrial unit, a spit and sawdust gym that's freezing cold. You know, I take nothing away from spit and sawdust gyms like that. That's my bread and butter. That's where I very first started. But in this cold temperatures, going into a gym that's cold and being forced to have to train to the point where you get warm and you stop and you get cold. At the point when you're shredding and you're cutting that much body fat, is so conducive with getting injuries. You get cold, you start to cool down. So being at the country club has been great. You go in there and it's nice and warm. You can get a good sweat on.
Yeah.
Get some elasticity in the muscles.
You can take the top off and you can look at what's going on underneath, whereas we wouldn't be able to do that.
No, and then literally the cardio's there, and then straight into the sauna. I mean, we have whizzed over a few points, which I think that, you know, myself and Kelly could really go into some detail, because we've either studied it or we're qualified in it. But for the purpose of this video, we've just gone through sort of like the main bulk of what we've experienced so far, kept it quite jovial, had a bit of a laugh, but we will do deeper into some of these things and talk more about, you know, the science and the physiology behind it. But for the purpose of today, it was just come on, introduce ourselves, say hi, launch the channel, which is, you know, been something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and I know Kelly was really keen for doing it too. So it's been nice. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And give you a bit of an insight into what we're doing, because I know a lot of you follow us and a lot of you see us on social media, and you might be thinking, you know, XYZ about what we're doing, and why we might be doing it. And we just wanted to give you the facts as to why we're doing it, but also that, you know, it's been a hard graft, and there's been times where we've, you know, wanted to go and get a takeaway.
Yeah. We haven't even had cheat meals, really, have we?
No, we've not had one cheat meal. We've had no kind of like, you know, wiggle room,
We had
really.
Mother's Day with your mother, that's it.
But we didn't really have wiggle room in a sense, because I still stayed completely on program for this as well. I think it's just wanting to have a bit of an insight into, you know, what people do and what works for them. Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely. So we hope you've enjoyed it, guys, and thank you for tuning in. We will be bringing more content to you, and if you like it, give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Absolutely. Take care, gang. Thank you so much.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.